All right, in this video, I want to talk about the unit page. The unit page or the project page is what you land on if you click on any of the projects, which are the things in the first row of any given subject within the year page. And there's a lot of different places in the platform that point there too. Say, for example, if you're in the progress page and you click on the name of a project, that will take you to the project page as well. If you're in the progress page, if you're in the week page and you made a goal about a project, you can click on the project and go there. So there's a lot of ways to do that. So let's say, for example, here, I click on a goal and I can click on go to project. And even within the grade overview page, so if you're like in the grade overview and I click on a project name, it will also take me to the project page. And last but not least, if I am even within the course overview page, which is here, and I click in a project, it will take me to the project page. So anytime you click on top of the title of the project, you will get to the project page. Now remember, if you just hover over it, you get an overview of what happened in the project. You will get like details in color coding about the checkpoints. If you have a skill that's below grade level, it will have a marking about that. It will show you the related focus areas that you're supposed to pass about the project and the final product results. And if it's a math unit, it would even tell you how many homeworks you have done and not done for that unit. So hovering is pretty useful as well. But I'm going to focus on basically talking about what you get out of the actual project page. So if you click on the project page, first of all, if you've gotten new scores, right at the top, there's going to be an indication that your teacher has scored something. And so you can click on that, and it will take you straight to the final product with the rubric, and it will be able to show you the score that you got for that assignment. So there you go, right here, you can see the student got a 0.5. Now, teachers will often highlight words from the rubric. It doesn't show this in the demo, that explain why the student got the score they did, to actually show you where you are, and often leave comments also within your document to explain to you what you can do to actually improve and get to the next level, especially if it's a checkpoint. But even on final products, they might do that because there will be future chances perhaps for you to do well on that skill. And so we might give you feedback, because feedback is the key. The idea is to grow. So that's the first thing I wanted to talk about is when you receive a score, make sure you look at the comments, make sure you look at the highlights in the rubric and the score itself to know where you are. And remember, from the rubric, the secret to go to the next level is look at the differences in the words between one and the next, right? So this one has no evidence versus identify some idea of theme, and so it provides details. So the key differences between how one word sounds versus the other tell you what you need to do to go from one level to the other. But you can also have a conversation with the teacher or look at the comments that the teacher gave or the words they highlighted to actually get the same kind of idea. Feedback is key. Always, always review your feedback. And if there's got a new sign on the top of your unit page saying that you got feedback or new scores, click on it and go see that feedback. You can also see that, by the way, from the progress page. If you click on the progress page, and I know we're talking about the unit page right now, but it's a good thing to remind you, every time there is feedback given by the teacher, there's going to be a note that the teacher has scored or given you feedback on a part of the project. So getting back to the project page that we were looking at, when you land in the project page, the first thing you notice is that there is the the project overview page will tell you what are the things I'm really learning about here, the essential questions, the enduring understandings. It will give you a description of what the project is like, all the cognitive skills which you're supposed to learn for this project, and all of the tests, the content assessments which are related to it, whether they are additionals, challenges, or main focus areas. You can also click on read more every time you see it to get even more details which are hidden sometimes. So if you see that read more, make sure to click on it. If you click on the rubric under cognitive skills, you'll see a full breakdown or all the way that your grade is going to be scored in this project and the range for each grade level. And you can see that the range actually changes as you go through the grade levels, and the ranges both get wider and higher. So the expectations keep increasing, and the range of scores also keeps increasing as the time goes by. For a seventh grader, for example, you expect it to be somewhere between 2.5 and 4.5. Now, if you look at the left side, you will see the different checkpoints, which are milestones that you have to go through the project. And on the bottom of the overview page, there are often really useful resources that teachers attach to it to help you do really well on your final product. Now, each of the checkpoints looks kind of like the review page. It will tell you which days you're going to spend on that part of the project. It will tell you what to submit. So this is the actual button you will go to see the submission. And once again, there's read more. So if there's read more, click on read more and read through it. Once again, it will show you the cog skills that this checkpoint focuses on. The project might focus on many, but usually each checkpoint focuses on one or two skills at the most at a time. And again, if you click on view rubric, you get to see what you need to do for that. Again, on the bottom, you're going to have resources. Resources for everyone are resources that every student gets. Resources for you are resources that your teacher specifically assigned to you because they think that these resources will help you based on what you have performed in the past for this kind of cognitive skill. And this repeats checkpoint after checkpoint after checkpoint until you finally get to the final products. Now, the final products will often have resources associated with them as well. Some projects will have a single final project. Some projects have the project split into 2 or 3 final products, but these are the ones which are often rehashes of the work you did in the checkpoints. And that's how you have to turn it in. So that is the basics of the actual project screen and all the details within it. One last thing that I would like to point out is that whether you are in a checkpoint or a final product, and you actually open the actual notebook where you actually can do your work, there's a lot of features up here in the top that you can use to add it and do your work. If you need help with that, I have a separate video on that. But that there are rubrics attached to each checkpoint that you can actually look at to help you make sure that you do a good job in your product. So I hope that this is helpful. I do have to show you, though, how it looks like from the math side, because math is a little different from the other subjects. So if you go back to the year page and we click on a math unit, it's still the overall unit page. So in a lot of ways, what I said applies. So let's open this one. And here you can see the same kinds of things, right? So the essential questions and understanding, a description, the skills that you're being assessed on, the rubric, everything exactly the same as we talked about before. Now, math will often have more checkpoints than projects will have because every 2 days or so, you may have a quiz, a little cool down is what they call them. So each of these cool downs is focusing on one of the skills that you're supposed to know. And they serve as a way for the teacher to communicate with you on whether you're learning that lesson well or not. But like I showed you before, each checkpoint will tell you at the top which days you're spending on it, of the lesson plans. And it will also tell you resources. It will have all the activities that the student completed. It will also, in the case of math, when there's homework, you will see the homework attached, the exercise sets. Now, math teachers might have different kinds of homework. They might expect you to do homework online in a platform. They might give you worksheets to do in class. But exercise sets are from the Summit platform itself, from the curriculum that's in it, and they are the most similar to what you will experience in the actual test. So even if you don't have to do them, because the teacher doesn't assign them, it's a really great idea to practice the exercise sets, because if you can do those, you definitely can do what's in the test. So that's my advice for that. So either way, at the bottom of the unit, you actually have 2 final products for any given unit in math. And the first one is the actual test. Now, sometimes the test can be online, but most of the time the test is taken on paper. But when you click on the test, you can often get feedback within this screen. The demo doesn't have any, but of what you did in the test and why you got the grade you got once the final product grade comes back. The teacher will actually break it down and show you feedback on how you did on each of the skills or questions which are in the test. So it's a really great screen to get some information if your teacher uses it. Likewise, for every unit, you also have portfolio problems. Now, if you click on the portfolio problems, you often see the choices that you have to do for your portfolio problem and a place to submit them. And just like the final product, if you click inside of them, it will open a notebook where you can paste your final product, and it will have the rubric of how many points you got on the final product. Now, remember, for the test, The rubric is one thing, but for the portfolio problem is another. The maximum is expected is a 1, but if you went in depth or this extra work, you could get extra points, which will help make up for other units' portfolio problems that you have not done. So that's pretty cool. And don't forget also that the lowest 2 portfolio problems of the year are usually dropped. And it's if the portfolio problems are counting on the year that you're actually doing it. Now, you can access the actual rubric for the actual test either from Math Concepts rubric up here on the unit overview page, or if you are in the unit assessment, there should be also a link for the same kind of rubric. Now, these rubrics will look in 2 different ways. The most typical one is that you will see is this one that has levels of proficiency. Now, I know it says percentages on top on my screen. Some schools use numbers instead. But what I will tell you for sure is that these do not represent like I got 67% of the test right. That's not what this means. What it means is that I have demonstrated a certain level of proficiency of the skills. So to score something like a 70%, that doesn't necessarily mean the same that I got 70% right. It means that there is evidence of understanding, but there's a lot of procedural problems, gaps in understanding, so I can't be mostly proficient. So don't think of them as a score. Think of them as a level of proficiency. It's a little more subjective. Now, sometimes the rubric will actually break down by skill and show you in each skill why you got the score you got. And some teachers use rubrics like that. In my school, this is the system that we use, at least this year. But do remember, it's not like you got an 85% of the test. What it actually means is that I had a lot of evidence of proficiency with very few mistakes. So it's not the same thing. So I do find that the percentage that lists on the top is a little confusing, but that's not what it means. So the next thing I kind of want to show you is that by using snapshots, is that teachers will often leave feedback within the checkpoints, final products, whatever, that kind of look like this. But before thing we should know is if you get a continue working, remember what that means is that you did a good job, you are on track to perform at the grade level target or above. So that doesn't mean you have nothing to fix. The teacher might still give you some ideas on things that you can do to get even better. If you receive review feedback, that means that you are on track to perform above the grade level minimum, but not quite at the grade level target. So you definitely need to do some work in order to perform better, whether it's to go see the teacher or come in STL or use the resources which are attached to the platform, find help online, go get help from a friend, attend a workshop, work harder on it, whatever you need to do to make sure that by the time the final product comes, you do a better job. Stop and revise means you are performing below the grade level or have not done the work, and that's usually a bad sign. You definitely need to do everything as said for the review feedback with a bigger sense of urgency. But again, the teachers will often give you a written feedback, comments on the side attached to some of your work that tell you exactly what to do to get to the next level. And they will often highlight the rubrics, showing you what are the steps that you need to take in order to do better. So feedback within the platform is definitely very, very, very important. Now, from the final product main page, you can get a pretty good overview by looking at the colors of each checkpoint of what direction you're headed as far as getting your project done. So this student has to work on the last checkpoint and we correct that work before the final product, but it's been doing pretty well before then on their actual final product. All right. Oh, actually, the last 2 checkpoints had trouble over there. When it comes to your actual final product, remember the teacher will actually score all of the skills within the rubric and give you scores for each one of them. And if you actually go within each of the scores, they will highlight the words showing you why you got the score you got on your project. And using gray, they will show you what you need to do to go from one level to the next. What is the word, the skill that you're missing to escalate to the next level? And they will often also give you written feedback in comments in order to help you do exactly that. Don't forget that your teacher is there to help you if you don't understand how to do this, and that the way you submit things is the link at the very top of any of the checkpoints or final project pages. So that very link on the top is where you click to actually open your notebook and type stuff or put pictures of or written work you've done if it's a written project to submit your final work. And I also want to point out that you should not underestimate the value of the resources which are attached to the platform, whether they're resources for every student or resources not marked just for you. It says resources for you because they are assigned to help you get the project done. But that doesn't mean also that you can't use your classmates as a resource. Don't copy, don't cheat. But yes, work together, get it done as long as you're focusing and actually supporting each other. Use the STL time for projects only if you are keeping up with the content assessments. Yes, projects are more important, but you really should try to finish it during class time so you don't fall behind on assessments by using your self-directed student learning time to work on projects. And if you have to do homework because you fell behind on a project, do it. But another resource can also be your teacher. Go see him during office hours or her during office hours. Go see your STL time so that you can actually get that feedback even on a one-on-one basis. Don't forget to look at the feedback during the checkpoints and do what the feedback says. Fix it before the final project is due. The key to do well on projects is, one, making sure to listen to instructions in the first place so that when you do what you're supposed to do. Two, before submitting anything, if you have a checkpoint or a resource that has like a checklist of what you're supposed to do, make sure you follow it. Three, actually look at the rubric and look for the words that separate one level to the next to make sure that you can actually know what you need to do to score as high as you need to score. Four, ask the teacher during class for actual feedback on your work. Go check in with the teacher every so often. How does this look like? Am I doing this right? Don't just wait for after you submit it to get the feedback. Ask the teacher on the spot. Five, after you actually submit, do so in time so that you can make sure that you get feedback. Don't turn it in late and risk the teacher not having the time to give you the feedback. Six, when you get checkpoint feedback, make sure to follow up on that feedback so that you can make sure to do a good job on the final product. Seven, before a final product is due, do exactly the same. Show it to your teacher before it's due so they can get you feedback and actually fix everything the teacher tells you to do. Eight, turn in the final project early so that you can make sure to be one of the first ones that gets graded. Maybe you get feedback in time to fix it, kind of like a draft. And if there is a draft submission, definitely take advantage of it so you can fix it again before the final project is finally due. Once the final project is due, it's not over yet. I'll give you a ninth one. There might be a future opportunity for you to do well on this skill in a future project. So look at the final feedback the teacher gave you so that you can internalize the mistakes you've made and do even better in the future, which takes me to number 10. Always focus on doing as best as you can. Work as hard as you can doing class and outside of the class if you have to, so that you can make sure that you continue to make growth. Even if you already hit the grade level maximum, push further than that, because getting higher than maximum can help you make up for the skills that you don't have a good score in. And even if you have a good score in all of them, then you're pushing yourself to become even better and acting like a higher level grade before you even get there. That can only help you. Focus on continuous growth and following on that feedback. And that's what I got for using the project page and unit page and some strategies on how to do well on projects. And I hope you found that helpful. We're going to see you on the next video. We're going to be talking about the focus area page and how to use it to best your success. I'll see you guys then.